Let's get the latest from Nigeria now. The UN Refugee Agency is voicing concerns over reports that hundreds of refugees who have fled to neighbouring Niger after deadly attacks by Islamist group BOKO HARAM are being sent back to northeastern Nigeria despite the dangerous conditions there. The UNHCR says it's not yet clear whether these repatriations are voluntary or forced. Meanwhile, Ghana's president says West African leaders are considering creating a regional military force to fight BOKO HARAM. This as Chad's parliament voted this Friday to send armed forces to both Nigeria and Cameroon. Well, earlier I spoke to Anna Cunningham in Lagos. She began by telling us about worrying witness accounts coming out of Baga, that being the site of the latest wide-scale violence.
What we've been hearing is coming from eyewitnesses who actually managed to escape the violence, and many of them fled to Maiduguri in Borno State, and they're now beginning to tell their stories. One woman has talked about how she was held hostage with, she says, 500 other women and children. She said that she had hid during the attack, and then she had gone outside to actually try and find her husband and children, and that's when she was confronted by Boko Haram militants. She was taken to a school, she says, and that's where she saw all these hundreds of other women and children. She said the older women were made to cook and clean for Boko Haram fighters. And what happened, the reason that she managed to escape is because they kicked up a fuss, and she said that the fighters became fed up, really, with the older women. So they released 100 of them and told them to leave the town. But she said that many hundreds are still kept there, and certainly the girls of what would be deemed marriageable age were being held hostage by Boko Haram. Of course, kidnapping is nothing new. We frequently see this by the Islamist militant group in Nigeria.
Well, going now to this notion of a regional force to fight Boko Haram, it's not the first time the idea has been floated, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, last year, under a certain amount of pressure from France, a multinational task force was put together which involved Nigeria's neighbours. And interestingly, the base for that, the military base where troops from Chad and Niger and Cameroon were to have been stationed, was actually in Baga. And we know that when that town was attacked, Boko Haram initially started to attack that particular military base. But the multinational task force didn't really get off the ground because a few weeks after it had started, then Niger and Chad actually pulled their troops out. And we don't know exactly why that was. Historically, we know there's been a certain amount of distrust. But on a positive side, what we are seeing now is that Chad has committed to send troops to Cameroon and to Nigeria. And today we've heard reports that there are convoys of tanks leaving the Chadian capital and heading towards Cameroon.